Welcome to Tiger Pick'ems on MUTV 23. I am Jack McGrath alongside Reiss Wegman and Angelo. We are entering week 10 of the college football season, and we've seen twists and turns at every corner so far. Oklahoma fell last week to Kansas State in a surprising upset. Sam Ehlinger and the Texas Longhorns dropped the game against TCU. Missouri fell to Kentucky a week after losing to Vanderbilt. And what looked like an ultra-promising season 2 weeks ago has lost momentum. Reiss, what are your thoughts on the past week?
It is evident Missouri cannot win on the road. They've dropped all three of their away games this season, and none of the teams that they've played on the road have been strong teams that really should have given Missouri any trouble whatsoever, in my opinion. This is a bad outlook going into number 8 Georgia next week.
Yeah, and the only thing more surprising for me than Missouri's incompetence on the road was Oklahoma's inability to stop a frankly mediocre Kansas State team. Although 5-2, K-State had one of the easiest opening schedules in all of college football. And before the Oklahoma game, they had a losing schedule in the Big 12, or losing record in the Big 12. But that being said, Kansas State showed up to play, and they did more than that. Skylar Thompson was great. He outdoed Jalen Hurts as far as I'm concerned, giving K-State a 48-41 win. And, gentlemen, hot take for you. I think this loss not only delivers a big blow to Jalen Hurts' Heisman Trophy, I think Oklahoma, we will not see them in the college football playoff.
Wow.
All right.
There you have it.
So our first matchup could be the one that decides the SEC East. The 8th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs will be taking on the 6th-ranked Florida Gators this week. Reiss, we'll start with you. What do you think about this matchup?
In my opinion, this is the game this weekend. A lot of teams are on bye. This is really the big game for this weekend. Florida's only loss this season has come at the hands of the now number 1 LSU, while Georgia lost in double overtime to South Carolina. I think this one could go easily either way. It's going to come down to whoever goes off to get the hottest start right at the beginning of the game. Jake Fromm will be making his 3rd start against the Gators, and he's won both of his previous meetings with Florida. I think Fromm hands the Gators their 2nd loss of the season and seats Georgia atop the SEC East. They take it 32-27.
All right. The Swamp, or Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, whatever you want to call it, Florida Stadium, that's long been one of my favorite environments in all of college football. Great place. The Gators look legit this year. And Kyle Trask, as far as I'm concerned, he's taken Felipe Frank's former job. What will win Florida this game is their defense. I think Florida is DBU, and they're going to force Jake Fromm to throw a lot. If Fromm throws more than 30 times this game, it's not going to look good. Mistakes are going to be made. I got the Gators in a close one, though, 27-23.
So I expect Georgia to try to stick to the run early, which will open up the passing game for Jake Fromm. I think the passing game will open up for Jake Fromm. I think it'll be a close one still. I think the Bulldogs will win 35-32. So our next matchup also between 2 ranked teams, SMU and Memphis. So College Game Day is coming to Memphis, and 2 teams who always aren't given the same attention as some of the bigger programs are going to have all eyes on them this week. It's going to come down to who steps up, and in my opinion, you have to trust your stars in big situations. For that reason, I'm going to be looking for Memphis running back Kenny Gainwell, who currently sits 2nd in the FBS in all-purpose yards, to lead the Tigers to victory over SMU. In a shootout, I think it'll be 49-42 Memphis.
I love what I'm seeing from both teams. I love what I'm seeing, especially from Mustangs of Southern Methodist. They have an impressive victory now over TCU, who just beat the Texas Longhorns this past week. And Shane Buechele, their quarterback, has been balling out this season. He's got more touchdowns than Trevor Lawrence and Jacob Eason. I think the Mustangs win this one 52-41, high-scoring game.
The AAC is getting its time in the spotlight, something that only happens once in a blue moon. I think Memphis has been sharp all season and maybe even a little underrated. Almost all their wins have been by a large margin, and their only loss at Temple came by 2 points. I think they have what it takes to pull off the upset, especially at home. Tigers take it 42-28.
And now, last week, some heartbreaking for me. Notre Dame is coming off a blowout loss to Michigan, essentially a gut punch to their season. I've been saying it all week, and I'll say it again. It's time for a culture change for Notre Dame football. They just haven't been able to get over the hump for too long. Meanwhile, they have the Virginia Tech Hokies coming up this week, bounce back week, hopefully. Both teams are 5-2. If Ian Book plays poor early. Look for backup quarterback Phil Dracovic to come in and run the show. That being said, they're going to have to win this game on the ground. I think they'll take a close game, 28-25. Reiss, what do you got?
Well, Notre Dame certainly can't be happy about the game that happened this past weekend. With an opponent like Virginia Tech this weekend at home, it feels like the perfect recipe for Notre Dame to have a bounce-back week. As much as I'd like to see an upset, I just don't see it happening. I got Notre Dame winning it 31-14.
I completely agree with you there, Reiss. I think Notre Dame's also going to have an edge at home this week, bouncing back from that tough loss. Both teams are 5-2, but very different levels of talent. Notre Dame's favored by 17 points. I expect them to cover the spread and win 35-17. So now we're going to move on to a military matchup, Air Force and Army. So Air Force has dominated Army for the better part of the last 2 decades, but Army has won the last 2 matchups. JJ, can Air Force soar over Army in this one?
I think they can. It's always a good day when the military academies face off. Some old-fashioned type football, but some surprising this year. Air Force not playing so old-fashioned. They're averaging 35-plus points a game. I think they're going to have a great offensive showing, and they're going to win this one 30-16. You heard it here.
So Army has lost 4 straight currently, and their most impressive game is likely the 21-24 double overtime loss to Michigan, in my opinion. I think Air Force is probably the better team, but a rivalry is just different.
Yeah.
Army would love to break their losing streak this weekend, and I say they do it 28-21.
So I also actually have Army in this one. I think their ground attack is so good. It's been fantastic this year. They average over 263 rushing yards as a team, which ranks 5th in the FBS. I expect them to pound the running game, and this one is actually, I think, going to be a low-scoring matchup. A little bit different from you, JJ, but I think Army wins this one 17-14. So that was our last matchup. So Reiss and JJ, any thoughts?
I think look out for upset, kind of an upset this week. Washington, unranked Washington against the Utah Utes. I don't think Utah I still don't think this deserved to be a top 10 team. Jacob Eason, Georgia transfer. I think he's going to throw for 4 touchdowns, upset Washington over Utah. Sorry, Reiss.
No chance. Don't sleep on Utah. Go Utes.
All right, so this has been Tiger Pick'ems on MUTV 23. For my partners Reiss Wegman and JJ Angelo, I'm Jack McGrath.